Hey there, Teresa Uncaged here, and in this episode, I want to talk about bagger racing. So in 2020, something cool happened. While most of the world was associating the year with COVID, motorcycle enthusiasts got to witness the first ever King of the Bagger racing event, which actually carried over into this year because it was so popular. So today, I want to talk a little bit about the race and what had happened. And I also want to interview a friend, Alexei, about his choice in motorcycles, which happens to be a bagger as well. Hey there, welcome to Indian Motorcycle Radio. I am your host, Teresa Uncaged. Let's go for a ride. Okay, so some exciting things have been happening in the motorcycle world. And PSA, I just started to get into racing. So if anything I say is a little bit off, please correct me. Feel free to log in and let me know that I made a mistake, and I will definitely make sure that I correct it. But apparently, in the summer of 2020, Moto America and Drag Specialties hosted the first King of the Baggers race event in California. And 13 bikes raced for the title. 4 didn't finish. So out of the 9 baggers that completed the 2.238 mile race, 2 were Indian motorcycles. So how exciting is that for Indian motorcycle? I was so excited when I heard this. So Frankie Garcia finished third on the Roland Sands Design Indian Challenger, and Tyler O'Hara took the title of King of the Baggers on the Mission Foods S&S Indian Challenger. And I know there's been other races since then, but this event was so huge, they thought it wasn't really going to be that successful, and it was so successful that they decided to continue it into this year, 2021, and expand it into a 3-round format. So at this point, I believe they're already through the first 2 rounds. And again, I'm just getting into this, so I just found out. But not only do we get more racing, we get more bagger racing. And Indian is supposed to be getting a 3rd team. Again, I haven't really looked into the other races to confirm whether or not this was true. But according to an article I read, Saddlemen was trading up from the Harley Road Glide to the Indian Challenger, and they were going with the world's fastest female road racer, Patricia Fernandez. So the season is supposedly going to be the most memorable season because we have 3 Indian groups racing for the title of King of the Bagger, and one of them is a woman. Now, I know they began the season in April in Atlanta, and Tyler again took the title of King of the Baggers, and Garcia once again placed 3rd. But unfortunately, in the second round of races, the reigning king, Tyler O'Hara, lost his crown because of some mechanical issues. I did not really read up on that to find out what had happened specifically, but he gave his title up to Travis Wyman and the Harley crew at the Road America race. So if you guys have any more information on that, shoot it my way. Hit me up in the DMs or something and let me know what really happened with that. But there is a 3rd round of the King of the Bagger series, and that'll be in July 9th through 11th in Monterey, California. And I'm super excited. I can't wait to actually watch this race. So tell me, who do you guys think is going to win? I'm really thinking that Tyler's going to win, just because outside of the Moto America King of the Bagger series, they just launched the Bagger Racing League, and this league kicked off this weekend. And I wasn't able to watch the race because it was today, and I had some things that I had to get done today. But I did watch the recaps on Instagram, and once again, Garcia took 3rd, and O'Hara finished 1st after a really rocky start. He pulled that front wheel up twice right off the line, and that was kind of sketchy. And then somehow he managed to close the gap and take the title, which is amazing. I'm so excited for Indian. But just seeing that track record of the Challenger doing so well, I really think that they're going to finish the King of the Bagger series as their reigning champions. And hopefully they'll finish out the Bagger Racing League series as champions as well. So I'm super, super excited to see what happens with that. Again, guys, message me on Instagram at Teresa Uncaged, or you can go on Facebook to Indian Motorcycle Radio and share your thoughts on there. Let me know, who do you think is going to win? What do you think is going to happen in these series? I'm really excited. There's a lot of Harleys racing and there's only a couple Indians, but so far Indians proven that they are quite the competitor. So since I've become interested in the Bagger Racing Series, I've realized that as a new rider, and you guys know, I've only been riding a year. I put 6,000 miles on my bike, but still, I'm a new rider. And those big baggers and touring motorcycles, they kind of scare me. It's big, it's heavy, it looks like a small car. So what new rider would just jump right into riding one of these giant motorcycles? Well, I found one. I found a new rider that loves that style. Alexei from Killshot Productions 22 decided his first bike would be a touring bike. So let's bring him in and chat. All right, so I'd like to welcome Alexei to the show. Hey, Alexei.
Howdy.
How you doing today?
Oh, amazing.
Awesome. All right, so we've been talking about baggers on the show, and I know you have a pretty awesome bike, so tell me what you're riding.
A 1984 Kawasaki Voyager.
Wow.
1300. Inline 6. And that's it.
Okay.
Doesn't have a whole lot of power, though.
Well, it's a monster of a bike.
Yes.
So how long after you started riding did you get this giant machine?
I would say I learned how to ride. Learn being in quotation marks, because this is a podcast. And then I got the bike. It was, yeah, right after the other, one after the other.
So you took the MSF, and then you just decided to go for it, go all in, and just get a big old bagger.
Well, I wanted value for my money, and my inexperienced self thought to myself, if I can spend the least amount of money and get the most amount of bike, what would that look like? Well, that's what this looks like.
Well, it is a little older, and I know it is a beautiful machine. So what attracted you to the bigger touring and bagger style bikes?
To be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. Never had experience with the bike. Actually, my first experience with a bike was like a 25 dirt bike, if that's a thing. It was tiny. My first and one and only experience, and then I turned 30 and was like, hey, let's get a motorcycle license. And after that, I was like, hey, let me spend the least amount of money for the most amount of bike. So, no, actually, touring bikes are just really comfortable. Mine has air suspension, adjustable air suspension, front and rear. And I see you guys riding your bobbers and such, and y'all can't take the bumps like I can.
This is very true. This is very true. We've gone on a couple of rough rides, and the whole time we're going, oh, did you feel that? And you're saying no, and we're pretty sore. Well, one of the things that I just got into that includes baggers is the bagger racing. Did you get to see any of that this past weekend?
This weekend, no, but I must have watched replays on YouTube or something, but no, it was really exciting to watch. The race that I watched in particular, good Lord, I can't reference it right now, but the two guys in the lead were like changing
back and forth
positions, back and forth.
That's why it was so exciting.
And then on top of that, I'm throwing myself in the rider's position, going like, wow, he's really leading that bike around that corner. Can I do that with mine? And the thought is always no, but it's cool to kind of look at that and fantasize a little bit.
Well, now you know it's possible. Just maybe a little more training.
Yeah, by professionals.
Okay, well, let me just say that the Indian Motorcycle Bagger of choice for the Bagger Racing League was the Challenger. So your bike is very, very different from the Challenger. Have you looked at the Challenger at all?
Yes. It's about 150 pounds less than mine, which is very attractive. It also has more power. It's a 17-something hundred power ratio, if I'm saying that correctly.
Oh, you know what? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Because my bike sits at 1,300. That's
Okay.
the displacement. Sorry, it's the displacement. And it's at 1,700. It's lighter than my bike. So, like, I'm literally imagining sitting on my bike and just picturing being on the Challenger almost. And the fact that it's lighter has me sold, on top of the fact that it's also more powerful, newer, fancier gadgets, GPS, navigation.
Oh, yeah.
What else was there? ABS. Yeah, just on top of that, the looks of the bike itself is really attractive.
I will agree with you on that 100%. It is a very attractive motorcycle. Okay, well, one day not so long ago, maybe a few months, you actually took a ride through the neighborhood on my Indian Scout Bobber, which is, I want to say, half the weight of your motorcycle.
It's like the front end of my motorcycle. Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Right off the bat, it was just a stiffer ride. Really, was the biggest difference. Well, I mean, aside from the weight, obviously, but it was a stiffer ride. But aside from that, I could deal with the stiffness because the bike sounded fantastic. It handled well. It's smaller, so the biggest drawback I would say for my bike and your bike, mine being a bagger, yours being a bobber, hey, there we go, is the stop and go traffic. My bike being so big and heavy, and it's tedious.
Gotcha.
Going from, or rather riding in stop and go traffic. If I rode a bobber, I could see myself riding the bike literally all the time.
Well, that is exactly what I do. I actually rode it to work today and saw a storm coming, and I was like, I guess I'll take it home and get the car. I was kind of upset. All right, so knowing all the things that you know now, going right into this big, heavy motorcycle, what advice would you have for someone that's new to riding that wants to do the same thing?
So there was one thing in the motorcycle course that I learned, or am still learning rather, is that speed is your friend. And the bigger and heavier bike that you get, just remember that speed is your friend. That momentum will carry you through turns and whatnot. Aside from that, just think about like how rewarding it is, how free it is to be on a bike, and just go out and ride. You're gonna fall in love with whatever you're riding, and if it ends up being a bagger, so be it. But the scariest thing that my friends still think to this day is how big and intimidating and heavy the bike is. And yes, take that into consideration, but again, just remember, if it's something that you want, you're going to make it work. And this bike is the first bike I've ever owned in my entire life, and it works well. I love it. It's comfortable. I'm literally sold on the bagger style bikes because of this bike.
Well, it is a gorgeous bike.
Thank you.
And, you're referencing getting it. I was with you when we went and picked up your new motorcycle, and you took it right off the trailer, and you left. You just decided to go. You're like, that's it. I'm just going. You're going for it. You got on that thing, and you decided to go around the block. And I remember, I believe I had my bike at your house, so I jumped on my bike real quick and was like, I don't know where he's going, but I'm going to go find him. And for a couple hours, I think we just went around the block. And do you remember how you felt that first day, just getting out there and the wait and the trials? Do you remember those feelings?
Oh, yeah. some of those feelings still are here presently. Just scared, intimidated. Rolling up to my first stop sign, I understand physics and how things work and stuff, but it's when you're dealing with something that's sort of out of your realm of, I wouldn't even say expertise, just your realm of just doing it every single day. It was a little nerve-wracking. Making turns as well. I remember making turns it still is, even actually to the left for me right now sucks. To the right all day long. That on top of just being so self-conscious about how heavy the bike was when it was just
a matter of getting it rolling.
Yeah. It was just a matter of getting it rolling. The thought of how heavy the bike was in the back of my head, which is roughly 1,000 pounds, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, the max I could ever deadlift in my entire life was 300 pounds. How the hell am I going to get 700 plus more if I had to lift this thing? Luckily, the bag supported. But back to your point, the stopping, the turns, and really traffic.
Yeah.
Still are and were back then a thing for me.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, we've done some, not longer rides, but we've gone some places, and I think that, you do really well, and I don't get that vibe from you at all. So the fact that you say you're still a little nervous every once in a while, you fooled me. You've definitely got me fooled, and I know one day you want me to get on that thing and ride it, and
heck yeah.
I'm right there with you. Every time I think about it, I'm like, it's heavy, and it's big, and I'm scared.
Remember speed.
Yeah, so one day I'll do it. One day I will. And I'm just not there yet. So I know one of the things that I love about your motorcycle is the style, because it is an older bike. So it's got more of a vintage feel to it. Yeah. And mine is very new and very, what I say is it's like a sleek, sexy look. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get a lot of comments when I'm out riding, like, wow, that bike's really cool. It's really pretty. What kind of comments do you get for yours?
So I've had a couple, but the one in particular that really stands out is, hey, your bike's really quiet. And I was riding home from work one day, and this guy pulls up next to me in a giant truck, so I'm sure no matter what bike I was on, he probably couldn't hear it, but unless he was hitting on me, I don't know. I couldn't read the situation all that well. I was really trying to pay attention to the road. He just pulls up next to me and yells something. Initially, I didn't hear him. I'm like, what? And I got the helmet on. It's, traffic outside is kind of loud. And I was like, what? And he's like, your bike's really quiet. And honest to God, that's like the last thing I expected anybody to say to me, especially when I asked them to repeat themselves. I'm like,
okay.
It's, yeah, that one really stood out to me the most. And it is a quiet bike. It really is. And I do like that to a degree. I also don't like that to a degree. Because the louder your bike is, the more badass it is.
Okay.
In quotation marks.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things that I love about your bike is your horn. The bikes that I have in my driveway, they all have the same horn. You have this really cool, it's not quite like an air horn. It's not that loud, but it's got a really cool sound to it. And I don't know if I've ever heard that on a motorcycle before, but I think that's pretty amazing. It makes you stand out.
So I assume in the races, the baggers don't ever honk their horns?
No, that's not really a thing.
That's pretty lame. They should finish the finish line honking and blaring their horns. But clearly they're not that cool enough because they don't do it.
That's true. They did do a couple victory wheelies this last time. O'Hara did some victory wheelies and messed up his bike, so he had to get picked up by his friend and get back to the victory circle. Wheelies? Do you do wheelies? I don't do wheelies.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doing wheelies.
On your 1,000-pound bike?
Yeah. The rear's 500, the front's 500. I'm not sure if it could lift 500 pounds with me on it.
Well, I know you've got that really comfy back seat. So do you prefer riding alone with a passenger or with all of us in a group?
Well, I prefer to be alone on the bike, but if I'm in a group with other people on their bikes, that's cool too. would like to know the rules though first, because it seems like every group that you ride in, people kind of do different things. There isn't like really a set rules, which is fine, but as long as I know them ahead of time, it kind of gives me a heads up as to like the riding style and stuff and what I should expect. Aside from that, I don't mind passengers, actually. I do tote my girlfriend around here and there. And really, it's fun. It's cool that I have a passenger. What else? What am I trying to say here? Yeah, I mean, really, I like to be... I prefer solo by myself on my bike and have my girlfriend ride her bike on her, and her riding her bike, and have my friends ride their bikes, because bikes are hard to see in traffic, and if you got a group, you're a lot more safe.
Gotcha. I know I definitely like riding alone. It's kind of my time to, free my thoughts and get myself back together. But for my birthday, we rode as a group. There were 4 of us. And I kind of touched on this when Ken interviewed me, that my best friend got me a zombie baby for my birthday. And we rode in a group. And you were the one that got to cart the zombie baby around on the back of your bike. And we definitely got some looks that day. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to that is when you ride a couch for a bike, it's got the most real estate available, so you could literally strap anything onto it.
This
the
is
sides,
true.
The top, the rear, the front, whatever. Lots of real estate to play with. Another good thing about bigger bikes, whether that be a bagger or, whatever's bigger than that. There's nothing bigger than that, is there?
Well, you've got the full touring package, so
Yeah.
as far as I know, that's as big as they get. Now, speaking of the touring package, I know that we have talked about maybe doing some camping trips. Do you feel like the rest of us with our small little bikes are going to load you up and dump all our stuff on you?
Oh, for sure.
Are you comfortable with that?
I mean, we'll see how much baggage you guys like to bring along with you, but I totally and fully expect to transport baggage for everybody. But the plus side of that is you guys are gonna be walking around like you rode a horse all day long. I'm gonna be nice and comfortable, kicking back, relaxing at the campsite.
This is very true. Very true. I do need to switch out my seat so I'm a little more comfy like you are.
Add some suspension to it too,
Yeah,
Some
I
air
can play with
suspension.
the suspension. I haven't done it yet. So I know you've actually done a little bit of work on your bike. You've worked on the Kawasaki. What is one tool that you cannot live without?
Well, let me just preface this by saying it has been hardcore, heavy duty work on the bike. It's I've done an oil change. I played with the electrical a little bit, moved some fairings around, and all of those things require different tools. But really, just a good ratchet set. Honestly, I mean that takes my seat off, which gives access to the battery. That's if anything really goes wrong out in the field, you kind of start there.
Okay.
Unless it's a blown out tire, then
Whole new ballgame.
yeah, well, Ratchet's going to fix that.
So, as we wrap up, I know that you have a production company called Killshot Productions 22. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing with that.
So it's literally in its infancy stage. It's just Killshot Productions. The 22 was added because Killshot Productions was taken on Instagram. And we offer a multitude of services: photography, film, videography. But really, my passion with this is just to try to get into film. Really, I've done a couple of music videos, but the stylization of those types of videos is different than telling like a story in a movie that you would see.
Gotcha. Cool. So if people wanted to get in touch with you for, photography or videography, how would they do that?
Yeah, just right now, just reach out to me on Instagram, Killshot Productions 22, all one word. That's really it
Awesome.
for now. Till I blow up, hey.
Well, we hope that you do. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
talking
you.
to me today. I'm really excited. I can't wait to watch some more of these bagger races with you.
Heck yeah.
That's it for this episode. I'd like to thank Alexei with Killshot Productions for sharing his experience as a new rider on a touring bike. Do any of you ride a touring bike or bagger? Share your thoughts with me on Instagram or Facebook at Teresa Uncaged or on the Indian Motorcycle Radio Facebook group. Have a great week, and I will catch you on the next ride.